Thank you all so much for coming for this tremendous day for Memphis baseball. We're going to begin with some opening remarks from Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Laird Veach, and then finally, new head baseball coach, Matt Reiser. And then after those opening remarks, we'll open up to questions from the media. So without further ado, Laird Veach.
Thank you, Scott. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. It's a great turnout, great crowd. We got to stop meeting like this. So just for the record, this is not the goal, okay? We don't need to keep having head coach introductory press conferences quite so often. I was joking with our staff earlier, when we first had one of these, when I first got here, we had to kind of talk about all the details and how we'd set it all up. And now I'm just like, okay, you got it down. You know what you're doing. And I want to start, though, in addition to thank Scott and all of our staff for all the setup, I want to thank Brendan Dwyer. Brendan, where are you at? I don't know if he's in the back. He's over. He's okay. All right, he's working. He's in the middle of something. As well as Jeff Crane for all their support and help in the search process. Those two gentlemen were tremendous. And I do have to admit that I looked back on my notes when we introduced Alex Simmons here recently from the last press conference, and I will share that there were a few kind of remarkable similarities. One of the things I talked about was how this was certainly unanticipated, but sometimes good things come from unexpected change. I think that very much applies here. I also talked about how it was really a sign of progress that we have a coach that comes in and then takes a job to the level that Carrick took it. But it's also a sign of progress to see the level of interest in this job that we had this time around versus last time. It was remarkable the doors that were opened and the perception of the program, how it's changed in just a short time. And I talked about how I felt fortunate, and I feel extremely fortunate that we found Matt and that things lined up the way they have. You're going to find out as you meet him here in a moment that we got a big-time ball coach and a great person. I also would share that I really believe I talked to more, not just me, talked to more people about Matt, and then for whatever reason than we had other candidates from other searches in the past. I talked to a remarkable number of people about this gentleman, from former players to former players' parents to coaches that he coached with or coached against, and he is amazingly well respected in the baseball community. And as you guys get to know him and the people around baseball that talk about him more and more, that was one of the things that really struck me throughout the process. As you all know too by now, I like to meet with the team. It kind of when something like this happens, we have change and just hear from them about what they were looking for. And a few things that they noted that I thought really stood out. One, they wanted somebody with real energy that could continue the momentum that was started. They talked about somebody that's not only a great recruiter, but somebody that can really develop talent and develop them as players. Somebody that's relatable and real, right? That was one of the things that they wanted somebody they could really connect with, but also somebody that felt like was really committed to being here, someone that would have some longevity and really build something. Well, as I shared with them in the introduction of Matt to the team, he's been where we want to be. He has been to regionals. He's led a team to success year in and year out, highly competitive. But he's also demonstrated some longevity at the place he was just at. And he really conveyed to me in a very sincere way about how he wants to be here and build something. And I think you'll see that as well. And finally, I would say the style of play, his personality, his fit for this place is pretty remarkable as well. I was listening to Greg and Eli this morning as on my way into to work, and it was funny. I think one of them remarked about how it'll surely come up in the press conference today with the new baseball coach about grit and grind, right? Where somebody was saying how that happens at every press conference these days. But it's very real in this case. You're going to see he is a competitive, hard-charging type of coach. And I think that style, how he pushes his players, how they play the game, will really fit Memphis and who we are. So with all that, I know we'll open it up for questions here in a little bit, but I want to thank and welcome Matt and Jeanette and their three sons. So their three sons are around here, right? I think they're in different places here in the crowd, so they can raise their hand and say hi. And then I want to ask you all to please help me welcome and introduce our new baseball coach at the University of Memphis, Matt Reiser. We're supposed to do this first, and then you come out.
I spoke with Al beforehand, and he said we got no full button jerseys, so there was no way in heck I was going to try to put that one button over this jacket. Good luck. Yeah, thank you, Laird. Appreciate the introduction. Obviously, I got a lot of people to thank in this, and so I'm going to start with the good Lord, man. He's got a plan for all of us, man, in our brightest times and our darkest times. You got to trust in His plan. Sometimes you might not see the end result of what He's got planned special for you. This is a logo I've looked at for a long time, in all honesty. And when Carrick took this job last year, I kind of kicked that can down the road going, well, maybe sometime later in life. Came around a little bit sooner than what we thought. And, the funny part about it is, even in the interview process, how he continued to show me. We were in one of the old football coaches' rooms in the interview process with support staff, and I see GTG on the board. And I go, oh, glory to God. He goes, no, go Tigers, go. I said, oh. God does love the Tigers, though. That's right. There we go. So, obviously, really excited. He continued to point in this direction. Obviously, Laird called, and my wife is there on speakerphone, and she hears the words, ready to be the head baseball coach at the University of Memphis? Boy, I was fired up. Said, absolutely, absolutely. And she was fired up as well to get up here and get our family settled and ready to rock and roll to go win championships. So, again, he continued to point in that direction. Sunday night we have a meeting, a Zoom call with the players, and that was my kind of number one thing in this. I did not want it coming from media. I know you guys are magicians of finding out information. I wanted it to come from us, some way, fashion, form in the department. I don't know how we did that. We did a fantastic job. I think one of the players told me, said, Coach, man, Kendall put it out 7 minutes into the interview as opposed to 7 seconds before with Carrick. So good job, man. You kept it a little bit later on that process. But it was a chance to kind of see them first, right? Well, the day that we actually had it happen, was on the 18th of June, and I was named the 18th head baseball coach at the University of Memphis. And if people don't know me, you'll get to know me, but 18 is a very special number in my heart. We had had a former player, former coach, and a dear friend of mine passed away a couple years ago of a brain tumor. Guess what number he wore? Yeah, 18. So, again, the good Lord just continued to point in the right direction. Hey, man, this is your calling. This is where you're supposed to be. These are the guys you're supposed to lead, and you're supposed to lead them to championship. So, I got to thank him first and foremost. I'll go into our committee, Mr. Laird, obviously Brennan, Jeff Crane, all those guys, man, they were fantastic through the process. Got to meet with everybody, right? Senior support staff, obviously support staff, players, strength coach, the athletic trainer, the whole 9 yards. A very diligent process, and I'll be honest with you, I thought I was interviewing to be the President of the United States at one point in time. The amount of detail that they were going into and how they were going with this process and the phone calls that I was getting on the backside of some follow-up conversations that we had. So I knew we were going down the right path, that a man that was looking for something to be here and be here for a long time and have a true vision for this place. So appreciate the committee for doing that, putting that amount of diligence into it, and being so thorough in the process. I want to thank, I've got all my nephews here and some my brother-in-laws and grandma. They left at 6 a.m. this morning. Car broke down halfway. Didn't matter. This is the resilience of my family. I'm just going to let you know they were going to find a way up to Memphis. So appreciate them being here. They found a way to get up here and be a part of this as well. I want to thank my mom who passed away 5 years ago. You'll see my resilience. You'll see that reflect in our players. And our perseverance and our mental toughness. She was a tough old bird, man. You didn't mess with Mama. Daddy, okay, no problem. Mama come around with a whipping, then you in trouble, right? She had that toughness to her that also she put into me and my brothers as well. I want to thank my brothers, Alex and Allison and Denny. They will not be able to be here today. They had a medical deal that they were at, appointment today. But Jake, you're here. Yep, Jake and Candace, and then their daughter Nora as well. Just all the support over the years for us as well. My dad, right? You'll get to know my dad real fast. You'll know him as Doc. He'll go around and let you know who he is and what he is. He's so proud of what he's been able to form as a family. And also you'll see why I have so much pride in what we do and how we go about our business. It oozes out of me, who I am and what I am. And he's a big dreamer, man. He always dreamed big. I got a bunch of big dreams too, right? But some of those big dreams come to fruition. People like to call me crazy. No way. You'll hear me some remarks later, and you'll probably look at me like I'm crazy. Good. Doubt us. That's exactly what I need. That's just a little bit more fuel to the fire to prove everybody and prove ourselves what we're here to do and how we're going to go about our business. I want to thank my wife. Man, she's a rock star. Somebody asked me the other day, said, how you doing mentally, Coach? Man, first couple of days on the job, you got transfer portal, kids to get back, you got to recruit a new team. I said, well, I'm great. I mean, it's 24/7, but it's all baseball, baby. Mom was back at home dealing with the kids and packing up the boxes and trying to sell the house and the whole 9 yards. So she's been my rock star through this whole thing, obviously, to see how proud she is of what we've been able to achieve as a family, man. Just that's exactly where it's at and exactly where my heart is. And last, but certainly not least, man, thankful to the players I've coached to this point. Man, this is the reason why I'm standing at this podium. They've bought into an idea. They've bought into who we are and what we are and that identity. And obviously have been the reason we've had the success that we've had. So we'll do the same thing here. You know, in the vision, a lot of people ask, why Memphis? What attracts you to Memphis besides the good food and the music, which, hey, man, I'm all in on. All right, very similar to New Orleans. Grew up an hour from New Orleans, so I was all about that. But definitely the people, right? The culture and the environment that I was going to be involved in, very similar mindset of people, the blue collar, and then you pull up Memphis and it says the city of grit and grind. I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of people right there, right? The guys who love to get in there, get the grease work done, right? Because that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and do a lot of work here to get where we want to be. And the thing that we've seen in this is that it's starting to trend in the right direction. We've made an investment from the administrative side. People care about baseball, right? The expectation to win is here, and that's what I wanted in this process as well. So there's no perfect university, there's no perfect coach, but there are some perfect fits, and I felt like this was a perfect fit on both sides, man, of what we were looking for to have success and maximize our potential to be able to do that part of it. What's the model look like? Who we going? Where we going? Hey, man, I want physical. I want aggressive. I want athletes, the whole 9 yards. But more importantly, component-wise, I want guys that get in here and they're competitive. I want guys who are selfless. I want guys who are intelligent. I want guys who are ball players, right? Mature guys who understand how to handle adversity. Talent's at an all-time high right now in college baseball, right? With COVID, it backed everything up. We dropped 20 rounds of the draft, the whole 9 yards. And now all those players are where? They're at the college game, right? So from the top to the bottom, Division I to JC, hey, man, what's going to be our separator? Everybody throws 95 nowadays, right? Everybody can hit a ball 500 feet or run a 6'2", 60. What's going to be our separator, our edge to win? Because they don't tell you got to win by 10. They just tell you to win, right? So, hey, man, a good team finds a way to win by one run. They do all the little things right, and that's what will be the model that we'll recruit. We'll start from the inside. We'll work our way out. That was a very big part of this attraction to this job is we knew West Tennessee. We've recruited in this area for many, many years and had some many good players down at Southeastern. The Harrington that just graduated from us, Trey Harrington, I had for 6 years, had 2 senior days for me because of COVID and injury, right? So we've been in this area. We know what it looks like. We've seen the format for it to be able to go have success, and we have confidence in that. We love our high school players, man, the kids that you can develop. We love our JC guys that bring that little bit of grit and grind appreciation for the facility, right? Hey, man, you go to Ole Miss, fine, fantastic. Go down the road, see what they got. You walk in here, hey, man, comparable, right? But I mean, they are appreciative regardless of the situation they're walking into because most of those JC guys come from the backyard and have to make their own things up, right, to be creative in their development. The transfer portal is a new day and age, right? It's a part of it. It's here. And if you don't adapt, then you die, plain and simple. So we'll have all 3 spaces that we'll do a good job of making sure that we recruit the high school kids, the balance of the JC kids. Hey, man, and sometimes those boys want to come back home, right? The Dalton Fallows of the world come back home, and all of a sudden you look up and the American Commerce Pitcher of the Year. So we're going to be about staying here, keeping guys here, keeping the brand here, growing into something special where they're not looking off, right? I understand we're in the SEC melting pot. Right, you got everybody else around you trying to come in, the best conference in the country, trying to pull all that talent. We have a commitment here to have success on that part of it, to make sure we continue to go in that direction that we want to be champions. And when we build that right and you continue to see that model, more and more kids will be attracted to the University of Memphis and play for the Memphis Tigers and have that pride. So, again, a couple of thank yous that did not have. A big one, I think, here, Mr. Julian back in the back. When you have transition like this, I want you to understand that this is a difficult job, right? The careers happen and they go different places. But these players get one career. And Julie and I have sat down multiple times since we've been here on Monday to have some conversation about different things. But that man's done a fantastic job of holding us together. Hey, man, just time out. Let him get here, get to know him a little bit, see what he's about, see if he's the right fit or not. And I think that's a huge, huge component of why we are in the position we are right now, to be able to have some guys out of the transfer portal come back. Yeah, coach, this is where we want to be. I saw the hire. Maybe I've talked to you. I've got to know who you are. Hey, man, I want to stay right here at the University of Memphis and continue to build on the momentum that we've built. The other thing I got to put out there is to Ford Pemberton is going to be my recruiting coordinator. He's back in the back. Welcome him and Sarah and his little boy John Ford and little girl Kate. He's been awesome, man. He jumped in on Monday morning, offering job Sunday night. We talked for a long time, Friday about 12:30 at night. He accepted the job, said, Skip, when we leaving? It's the first thing in the morning. Said, all right, let's hop in, let me get a bag, and let's go. No, we're ready to get to work. He's been my right-hand man and been fantastic to be able to help us do that. For us, again, you know what the model looks like. You know what we're going to go recruit. You know what you're going to get and what you're going to see. It's going to be a very aggressive style of baseball on the field. It's going to be a part that you're going to be proud of. It's going to be a club that you're going to be proud of. But I'm not in the business of waiting. I'm not in the business of being very patient with that, okay? When we talked about this process, we talked about continuity, but we talked about consistency, and that's what I want to be able to build. I want to be able to win a championship now. I think we have the ability to do that now, right? Getting you guys to believe in. That's my number one thing to you players, that you guys are here, you guys that are watching and listening. I'm here to build your trust. I'm going to get it. I promise you. I'm going to dig in there. I'm going to dive in there hard for you to believe in us and believe in what we're doing, and for me to believe in you as well, but we got to do that with trust. To be able to win the first year, right? Not 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the road. Year 3, by the time we get to year 3, hey man, now we're in a situation where the schedule's built, we got the quality wins. Again, when SC melting pot, Mississippi State, come on down. Tennessee, come on down. Ole Miss, come on down. Arkansas, come on down. Whoever you want, come on down, come play us. We'll go there. We'll do the home and homes, whatever it wants to be. That schedule will be built with the quality wins that we need. Now that we got the schedule set up, we have the quality wins. We don't have the greatest week on the back end. It's okay. We don't need the auto bid because the American Conference is moving forward in baseball as well. It'll be a multiple bid league. By year 5, I want this a national brand, man. Football's done a fantastic job. Obviously, basketball's done a fantastic job of being a national brand in their sports, in their individual sports. Well, guess what? We're coming. Baseball's right behind it, man. We're coming to be a national brand by year 5. You get to year 10, people are like, you're talking about year 10 already? Yes, I'm talking about year 10 because this is where I want to build a home. This is where I want to build a family. The continuity of it. How do you do it? You know how you built it. You know the guys that you did it with and the mindset you did it with, and you continue to get those guys. They'd ask me down in Hammond all the time, hey, man, we're going to win a regional. We're going to keep knocking on that door. You knock on that door enough, guess what you do? You kick it in. And that's one good weekend, 2 wins, and guess where you're sitting, ladies and gentlemen? You're sitting right there in Omaha. So that's the big goal. Unless maybe call me crazy, that's fine. We haven't been to a regional since 2007. That's okay. That's fine. It's a different day and age, man, and Memphis is going to be greater for it. So thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Go Tigers, go.
All right, we're going to open it up to questions from the media. Start here with Matt and then Jeff. Just introduce yourself to Coach or Laird and with your affiliation.
Yes, sir. Matt Infield, Action News 5 here in Memphis. Welcome. It sounds like you were paying attention to the job that Carrick was doing last year. Obviously, you're going to be your own man, but what were some things that stuck out about the job that he did to inject some life back into his program, and how do you continue that?
Yeah, he stopped the ball rolling downhill. I mean, that's tough to do sometimes. Once that thing goes going downhill, you got to be able to stop it and make a transition. And have we turned the corner quite yet? Not there. Not there, right? We still know what the record was last year and where we were, but there was a lot of momentum built to the very end of the year that I think we can build off. There are players in that locker room fiending to win. He changed that mindset. He changed that mentality. Then that's not like a recreational sport for them anymore to come in and hang out, get a degree, hang out with the girls, just enjoy the college life and play some baseball while they do it. They're here to win championships, and you can feel that energy in our locker room and in our dugout as well.
Coach Jeff Brightwell, Tiger Sports Network. Of course, when you look at your body of work at Southeastern Louisiana, the 4 regionals, the 3 conference titles, it's got great facilities. You're drawing the biggest crowds in the league. What similarities do you see in Memphis when you went to Southeastern? Because you had to build that. It wasn't the finished product when you took over there.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit beforehand, right? We did a great job of getting people to buy in. I tell them year 1, when we were there, we were talented. We had some good players. But we didn't have the right guys that were bought in that were selfless in that. And it's all the way, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So, hey, does the winning create some people to come in the ballpark? The more people in the ballpark create some more wins. I think they go hand in hand. I think that's a huge part of it. It's growth each and every single year in what we're trying to develop into the ballpark as well, right? The game day atmosphere. If you look at it, when we first got there, we probably averaged 500 fans a game to we're averaging 1,200. it became an event on Friday night that, hey, man, we're going to watch Southeastern play. Okay, well, who are they playing? I don't know. It's going to be the same way here, right? Hey, man, who's Memphis playing on Friday night? We might be playing the Tennessee Volunteers. We might be playing Austin Peay. I don't know who we're going to be playing, right? But people won't care because they know the event and know the style of play that they'll be excited to see.
Matt, Frank Bonner, Daily Memphian.
Yep.
During this process, how important was it for you to also find a university that you felt had enough emphasis in baseball for you to do the things you want to do?
Well, I'll be honest with you, that was the kicker there at the end. Obviously, Laird and I got a chance to sit down at the last part of the interview process, and it had been a long day. I think we started at 7:45, right, finished up around 5 o'clock, but a chance to just sit down and like you said, be real. And he expressed to me, hey, man, the expectation to win. We're starting to invest in this. We want baseball to be where it needs to be. I told those young men in the interview process, hey, man, whether I get this job or not, your administration has a dear desire for you guys to have success and go win. So I think that was kind of the last straw for me where I went, hey, man, this is about it being the perfect fit, not the perfect university, the perfect coach, the perfect fit. You making that comment, that expectation makes me want to be here, and this is the #1 university for me and my family.
Laird, when were you sold?
When he came up and we met in person, I was sold we had the initial Zoom interview, and I was sold there that, hey, I think this is absolutely one of the best candidates we can have. But when he came here, we met in person, and also when I heard from players, so he was able to sit down with a couple of them in the process, which we're not always able to do, but it sort of worked out in this time frame. And hearing from them and their thoughts about him and how they connected and how they felt like he was really the right fit at this time to be able to continue what's already kind of been started. That was the moment that kind of put me over the edge.
Laird, second time in 3 months where we're having a press conference for unexpected hire after a coach that you guys had that injected life back into a program left for a bigger job. So I'm curious, when you're talking to Matt, it sounds like this is a destination job for him. Was that a point of emphasis throughout the process so you didn't have to do this again in a year or two?
Yeah, that's also a pretty difficult needle to thread because you want somebody that's committed to be here, that you feel like really fits, wants to build something, has some longevity, but you also want to find the most talented, bright, hard-charging, competitive coach you can that you feel like is going to win. Right, and so sometimes those things don't always go together, and this time we were able to thread that needle. I really believe that, but you're not always fortunate enough to do that, and I feel like one of the advantages we have here is we are really well positioned to win in our league and how we're structured across the board. All of our sports, we can be highly successful, and coaches see that, so it allows us to attract really talented coaches that are going to continue to elevate. So we got to embrace that too and not be afraid of it. But we're fortunate that we've got a guy that has, candidly, I talked to other ADs that had wanted to hire him previously at bigger schools. He didn't have any interest at that time. And I liked that because that means he's also, you got a guy that tends to be and wants to be at a place and really build it and do it. So we're fortunate that those things kind of came together.
Laird, this question's for you, and also I'd like to get the thoughts from Coach Reiser. Football has been developed over the last 10 years. Basketball has always kind of been at the forefront. You've got women's basketball going now. How imperative is it to really make, and you guys have done it with the field and the video board and some stuff like that, but to continue to make a commitment and get the baseball program really rolling here at Memphis, because you look at it now over the last decade, how it's blown up on the national level?
Yeah. I hear that a lot about how are we thinking about our other sports here and how are we investing in those. And one of the contexts I hear that in is in terms of like conference realignment and our ability to position ourselves for an even higher level conference affiliation, and that is certainly a part of it. But to me, it's also about if you're going to do it, let's do it. And I think that develops a culture of expectation and commitment to success that's across the board. And I'm starting to hear that more from some of our other head coaches, right? That when they see success in other programs, they feel the pressure themselves. And that, it's the rising tide. We all do that. It's the same kind of expectation around our department with the administration. If we're going to continue to do something, we're going to do it right, and we're going to expect to be successful. And I think that just helps everybody in the end.
Yeah, I think it's a yearly deal, right? I mean, at the end of the day, when they come into the ballpark and they see the style of play and they start to fall in love with our guys and how much we're involved in the community, and they might be in there just to not be a baseball fan, right? Just to come see Cam or one of these guys or see Bam, and all of a sudden they get there and now they see the energy in the ballpark. But I think it's a yearly build, right? Like, hey man, I'm telling them Brendan as we're in the interview process, like, hey man, you got space down here down this left field line. What you gonna do with it? Like, Coach, if you get the job, I mean, we're all open ears. So, hey, well, let's do a playground here, a cooking club there. I want the student section there. You start to see it unfold, right? And I think that, again, that was a huge selling point for me to take this job was, I mean, the commitment, obviously, that Laird and them have made so far at this point, but the growth that they still want as well.
Coach at the back,
Yep.
Avery Braxton, ABC 24. You spent 10 seasons at your previous spot. Obviously, this program has been through a lot of transition already. What do you tell players who are a part of this program, and even players that maybe have been at your last spot, about what it means to have continuity and going through transition here now?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a conversation with a few of these guys already, kind of in this context of, hey man, I'm gonna be 85 years old probably one day. That you got to kick me off the mound and down the mound and get me out of here. I've got a career in coaching, right? You get one playing career, and there's a time limit to it. So that's getting in there and obviously getting them to trust me. And hey, I get it. I'm the third coach in 3 years, and hey, coach, you're gonna have a certain thing that you're gonna do. Yeah, we'll have standards. We'll have a set standard that you know what you're supposed to do and not to do. But we're gonna do it together. And I think the thing that I listened to, I studied Laird in this process as well, right? I saw his press conference last year with Carrick and hiring, and he talked about the accountability factor, but the love factor and the balance of those two. I thought that hit home with me, right? And that's kind of what I am and how I do things, right? We can love these guys to death, and I show them that I truly care. They'll do anything for you in the world. So getting in here, right, third head coach, 3 years, the whole 9 yards, I got to build that trust factor to be able to continue to do that and grow and go forward.
Matt, if you don't mind getting into the nuts and bolts, what kind of style are
X's
you
and
looking
O's.
for?
X's and O's. Yes, finally. Let's go. Let's go.
What kind of style are you looking for between the white lines, though, from your teams?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's going to be aggressive, right? I'm in the process of hiring a pitching coach and obviously doing a lot of interviews with some guys and, trying to make sure they match up with what we are. But first and foremost, we're aggressive, all right, and we're competitive. So that's what I'm looking for. The X's and O's is out, right? I mean, yeah, we like to run, and that's what everybody knows us for. Like, oh, coach, you can have a bunch of little 5'5" guys that are out there and run. No. I mean, we like those guys at the top, sure, be a table setter. But guess what 3, 4, 5 can look like? They can be able to run the ball out of the yard. So ideally, it's an offense like we had last year where we led the league in home runs and stolen bases, right? That's what we talked about, the physicality, the athletic part. And Memphis is going to be able to attract some of those physical tools, right, to be able to play that style of baseball. On the mound, we're going to throw strikes. I mean, that's it. We're going to attack. We're going to attack inner half. We're going to do fastball life, fastball command. That's what we are going to value. So when you go out to the ballpark, man, you're just going to see a very aggressive mindseted club that loves to play the game. At the end of the day, that's where we got to remind ourselves, right? There is business to this. I get that part of it. But they picked up that baseball and that glove like my boys do over there just to have fun in the backyard, right? I can watch my 7-year-old throwing the ball up to him in the middle of the field today, right, as we're touring the field. And that's what it's about. It's for the love of it. And so we'll have that style of aggression, but we'll have that style of love and appreciation for the game as well.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Go Tigers, go.
Go Tigers, go.